Hello Virgo, and welcome to your July 2021 reading. Be sure to take out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded generalized reading. And if you'd like a personal individual reading, I do have links for that in the description box below. Other than that, let's go ahead and begin. The first card we have is Tree. It's time to really connect with means of personal, deep-rooted stability. So deep roots in yourself, your connection, family history. I'm really kind of getting that imagery of how through a lot of spiritual and myth and lores, there's a connection with the tree of life and what that means for us as far as a person is concerned spiritually, as well as our family line is concerned. So there's a little bit of this coming into play, and I feel like this is something that you're going to be connecting with or pondering as you enter into the month of July. It's one of those things where it feels as though at the beginning of July, it's something that's going to be a bit fleeting in its presentation, sort of going to present itself, and you're going to give it a little bit of thought and consideration and then go about your life. But as you move through the month of July, it's going to continue to hang around and present itself and really push itself into your consciousness to the point of you wanting to make a deeper connection with this. Now, this, as far as how quickly this will happen for each of you, it really depends on your personal life choices as far as what trajectory you will go on and how quickly this will come in, how much you kind of participate in the consideration and the contemplations of this. But there's definitely a moment at the beginning of July where there is a presentation of family roots and personal spiritual connections and roots. And that's just going to continue to kind of permeate your consciousness as you move through the month of July. And it's going to have an impact on just where I really feel that there's a spiritual connection with this. Like there's a definite link between the ancestor and the spiritual aspect. So there's quite a few of you as far as how this applies. There's definitely going to be some work that you're going to be contemplating and then eventually participate in. That's going to create a link with both your spiritual path, with your ancestors or ancestor connection or perceptions of ancestor connection. We have Be Mindful with Your Money, Honey is the next card. And so this doesn't feel like it's connected too much with this as much as there's just this another aspect of what you're going to be facing in the month of July. So you're going to have this point where you're going to be more consciously aware of your spiritual path and its connection with ancestral ties. But disconnected from that is just this mindfulness to budgeting and how your approach to money is. And I'm really being shown how much the color yellow is present in this card, not only there, but also in the back of the card. There's definitely a huge presence of yellow, and it has to, I'm being given that connection with the color yellow and our solar plexus, our third chakra. And for me, I'm just getting this overall sense that there is some of you who your money relationship and how you spend your money sometimes is tied into your therapy for self-confidence. And so this is something that you're being told you need to be mindful of. And how it does connect with this card as far as the spirit and ancestral tethers or ties with each other is instead of finding means of spending your money and using retail therapy as a way to boost your self-confidence, you should be connecting with your spiritual aspect and some of those links as far as ancestor is concerned. And it doesn't have to be specific. Sometimes we throw around that term ancestral connection, and there's for a lot of people, it just kind of drums up the imagery of working specifically with someone in our ancestor line. And it doesn't have to be, it can be. So just be open-minded with your perception of ancestor work, and just know that ancestor work can be someone specific that you want to work with or you want to connect with, but it also can be very generalized as far as the mindset of working with the ancestors of your people, who you perceive to be your bloodline, your people, from an ancestral perspective. So either or works, but there's definitely a bit of a message regarding how you use retail therapy and spend your money as a means to boost your self-confidence, as a means to kind of give your solar chakra a little bit of a stimulation through retail therapy. And you're being told instead, look at your spiritual connection and working with making that deeper and having that to be your boost for you on a solar plexus, third chakra, self-confidence boosting. What you want to look at or focus on, we have the Seven of Pentacles. And this is really tapping into patience comes to mind. Knowing that the work that you do has obvious benefits eventually. You'll get to the point where you will see the fruits of your labor eventually, but it takes time to get to that point. There's just an overall sense of just being told to be patient and work with what you have as it comes in. Work with what you have as it presents itself. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched sort of scenario. Don't try to jump ahead of the game. Is another turn of phrase that's coming to mind. It really is. And I'm being told to bring in the link with money. So when you bring in that link of money, even though you know that there's money coming in, this is very specific. So for those of you this resonates, take it. For those of you who don't, you can just leave it. But there are some of you who are being given insight in some increase in your influx of money. So you're going to get an influx of money that's a little bit more than either you have been experiencing recently or just a little bit more than you usually do in a general sense. But either way, there's going to be a sudden kind of burst of excess in the monetary aspect of your life, of your existence. And this can apply even just being in abundance in other aspects of your life. So take however that resonates, but you're going to experience this influx. It's going to be an increase. It's not an exuberant amount, but it's enough that you'll take note of. You won't be able to deny that there was this boost or there's this surge, but you're being told not to spend it immediately, not to suddenly think of all the things that you could do with this and kind of attach it to expectations, because you're being provided this excess and abundance. It's kind of going to be a one-time thing. It's not a permanent change. It's not a permanent shift. It's going to be sort of a one-time, here's a little extra sort of situation. But your guides, your deities, your ancestors, whoever you work with as far as your connection to the other side, they actually know what that's meant for, and they don't want you to earmark it for other things without consulting them. All right. So when you experience this surge or burst or sudden abundance that's significant, and especially in contrast to what you're normally used to, do not start earmarking that for things that you think that it would be good for before consulting to spirit as far as how you're supposed to be spending this, because they're either providing for something that's coming up, or they have a direction that they want you to go and they're just setting you up. But it's going to be a preparation. You're receiving this in preparation for something that's going to be occurring in the future. And I'm being told that even though the highest frequency of this is directly related with money, there's a select few of you that this narrative can be transferred to the concept of energy. So however that applies, take how that resonates If there's a bit of confusion with that, connect with spirit as far as how you're supposed to be translating that. But the bottom line is that you are going to be experiencing a surge or increase that's different than the normal, and you're being told to consult with spirit, however you deal and work with spirit as far as how you are supposed to be utilizing it, because there is a specific purpose and reason for it. And your life trajectory will be better for it if you consult first instead of just taking it and, going kind of haywire with it. All right. So what you're supposed to focus on, Moon, I really do feel like this is an aspect of rest, that concept of healing and connection that feeds and nurtures us. It nurtures our intuition, nurtures the aspect of ourself that hasn't been programmed by living here on earth and programmed by the matrix, or however you want to perceive that. There's definitely, it's just really telling you to take a moment, take a pause, step away a little bit. Don't become not present in things that are occurring, but disconnect just enough so that you're connecting a little bit more to that intuitive side. Again, really cultivating that connection, the roots from a spiritual perspective, from an ancestral line or spirit line, for direction and guidance, because whatever's happening, it's the kind of thing that happens. Apparently it's going to be enough to make it so that it would be easy for you to make choices that might not necessarily be in your best interest. So really cultivate connecting to your intuition, cultivate connecting with your ancestors, to spirit, for guidance as you move through this month. It feels like, for the most part, there's going to be positive things that are happening, but it's so quick, and it's gonna be a surge, and it's gonna be so fast that you can kind of get caught up in the excitement of it all. And as a result of it being caught up in the excitement of all, you might not be as firmly rooted in the decision making that you're supposed to utilize this in your best interest. So what you don't want to focus on is, we have the Lovers. So right away, I'm just being told that there is something, this feels very work related. Something's happening at work as far as other people gathering, having conversations, connections, and you're involved, but you're not present. I feel like that even when you're in the room, you're not really actively present in the planning, the communications, the connections. You're welcomed, but your focus is a bit more on yourself, and there's nothing that's how it's supposed to be. You are not supposed to be getting so involved in these other experiences and situations that are happening around you that you are connected to and are present for. Being connected and present it's supposed to be the peak of your participation in these. Your focus is meant to be really honing that connection for guidance as far as what the next step is. So whatever's happening, and like I said, this feels very much work related. Like that's the biggest energy is work related, but there's definitely a sort of group participation that's occurring through the month of July, and you are encouraged to go there, be present, and participate. But your participation is meant to be at a baseline level. Your focus is more on honing your intuition and honing your spiritual connection to ancestor and whatever it is that you connect as far as the spirit realm is concerned, for guidance and direction. All right, Virgo, that is all I have for you for the month of July. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded generalized reading. If you're interested in something that's a bit more personal and individualized, there are links in the description box below. Other than that, I hope you manage to get the guidance that you seek and the connection depth that you desire, and have a good July, and hopefully I will see you in a future video.